for the Dan Buettner Podcast. And we're honored to have you on here, Andrew. You know, you're a big get these days. You're a big deal. But I'm going to hope to give the audience three succinct takeaways in number one, how to make healthy food taste delicious, because you are, after all, one of the nation's best chefs. Number two, the most surprising thing you can do if you find yourself with a problem with drugs or alcohol. And number three, what can dogs teach us? Sure. So we're going to get to all those. Sure. But first, I want to talk about what you're doing and what you're excited about. And just in full disclosure, I have partnered with your company, Intuitive Content. So we're doing this podcast together. But what else are you excited about? What's going on? I mean, you started Bizarre Foods, and you've won Emmy Awards and several James Beard Awards, and you've been owner in restaurants and news shows. What are you excited about right now?
I am excited about the next 10 years of my life and the messages that I think I am finally equipped to carry. And one of those messages that I can carry is how we can care for our planet and produce from it at the same time. And more specifically, our oceans and my new cookbook.
The Blue Food Cookbook here, which
very fancy. But this cookbook came out of a show that Intuitive actually produced last year called Hope in the Water, nominated for an Emmy and for James Beard Award, and we're very proud of it.
And the ethos is that the sea is a major source of food for human beings.
Yes.
And it can be treated better, and we're all trying to learn how to do that.
Yes, and you can't just turn it off. There's 2 billion people that eat out of our ocean, and 1 billion people who work in our ocean. You can't just turn that off. However, if you are a better caretaker of the ocean, if we take care of all of our waters, we will be able to produce more food out of it and feed more people on a planet that is going to find itself increasingly hungry as time goes on because of climate crisis, conflict, and a host of other reasons.
I know a lot of people tuning in, fans of Blue Zones. They know that I don't promote seafood in any of my recipes or meat of any kind, any animal products. But I will acknowledge a couple things. Number one, people in Blue Zones have eaten a little bit of meat, 2 or 3 servings a day. They tend to be the sort of mid-chain sustainable fish like sardines and anchovies. And number two, you know, when it comes to the science, it's not clear as to whether fish is good or bad for us. Fish is an important source of omega-3 fatty acids, which most Americans are deficient of. It's a good source of protein. But number two, as you know, fish increasingly is aggregating heavy metals, the plastics that we throw in, and we know these aren't good. So, you know, my official stance on it is you can get the nutrition you need by eating plant-based sources, but I acknowledge that a lot of people love fish. They're going to keep eating it. If you're going to eat it, the Blue Food Cookbook is the way to go.
It's fascinating that you talked about sardines and anchovies, because we have 2 chapters of the book to fish in that category, small silverfish and other types that are better for you and aggregate less of those chemicals because they grow to size so quickly. They're in cleaner waters. There are a whole bunch of different reasons why those fish are better for you than, say, a pelagic fish that's been swimming around in the ocean for 5 years.
Let's merge what you're good at and what I'm good at. What would you say is the healthiest fish, and how do you make it taste delicious?
You mentioned anchovies and sardines. There is a slightly bigger fish, mackerel, that I think is so rich. I mean, most fish, give or take, has roughly the same amount of protein by percentage of weight, right?
Mackerel is going to be very oily.
Mackerel is very oily. However, because of that, it's very forgiving to cook. Those oils are really, really good for you. And if you eat smaller mackerel, like the Atlantic mackerel that is chased in from deeper waters by pelagic fish, tuna, sword, all those other big fish, sharks, gets pushed into North Atlantic beaches in the later stages of summer, I don't think you'd be eating a more delicious fish that's better for you. We also need, as a planet, to stop eating salmon, halibut, shrimp, tuna.
Are you saying mackerel is sustainable?
Oh, mackerel is very sustainable, especially king mackerel is very sustainable too. That's a tricky question for anyone who knows a lot about this subject. And the reason is there are tuna species that are extremely sustainable. Small tuna, skipjack tuna, blackfin tuna, etc. But and we all know that eating a giant bluefin tuna these days is kind of like eating a Bengal tiger, right? There's not a lot of them, and there are a lot of issues associated with eating certain fish. However, there are bad fisheries or poorly managed ones that we shouldn't be eating from, and then there are good and well-managed fisheries. If you have a farm, you have gates, you have fences, right? So your chickens or your cows or your asparagus comes from this piece of acreage. There are no fences underneath the water. Fish move. So consequently, it's more about the managed fisheries. I always tell people when it comes to fish, you have to eat seafood that is sustainable and regenerative, that comes from a well-managed fishery. And if you can tick those boxes, eat it.
And the Blue Food Cookbook is largely from these sustainable fishes? I mean, what are you trying to achieve?
Every single one of them.
Great.
And now we all have a supercomputer in our pockets. It's a miracle at the amount of information we have at our fingertips. And so it's very easy to get a hold of Marine Stewardship Council that update every single day what fish you should be eating, what you should be staying away from. We recommend over 150 species in here that are all really, really safe to eat, assuming they're coming from a well-managed fishery.
If I'm going to eat seafood and I'm a purchaser, what am I buying that is actually going to do the ocean a favor?
Small silverfish and bivalves.
Bivalves being?
Clams, oysters, mussels.
Perfect. So if you like that clip, there's a lot more where that came from. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you won't miss our new videos as they come out each week.